A typical Sunday morning in Poland. 3 churches hold Mass, and in all 3 the pews are nearly empty. Is the Catholic Church in Poland facing a crisis?
The Christian church doesn't have a good reputation right now.
I'm not a believer. The church is a profoundly toxic institution.
But then, one church breaks the pattern, St. John's Church in Gdańsk. Every Sunday, Rector Krzysztof Niedałtowski fills his church with people, with music, and with sermons that hold up an unflinching mirror to the congregation.
Every one of us is something of a hypocrite, an actor, someone trying to look different, better, more positive in the eyes of others than we really are.
These sermons really impress me. He interprets the Gospels in a way that feels relevant to our times.
I know there's a crisis in the Polish church, and young people especially are distrustful. But that depends on how you engage with them. If you take people seriously and speak in a normal way, that makes a big difference.
But the half-empty churches reflect the reality of Catholicism in many parts of Poland. On the streets, however, it's a different picture. Buildings and squares are covered with images of John Paul II, the Polish Pope, still admired and even venerated as a saint 20 years after his death.
I'm afraid I no longer have much to do with the Catholic faith. So for me, John Paul II is purely of historical significance. I don't feel any spiritual connection.
Poland was once home to Europe's most devout Catholics. The Church no longer releases current membership statistics. But surveys show that many 18 to 25-year-olds want nothing to do with it. 30 years ago, nearly 2/3 of young Poles practiced their faith. Today, it's fewer than 1 in 4.
I'm especially critical of the role of priests and the abuse of their power. Religion and church institutions should be kept separate from the state.
Why have so many Poles turned away from the church? At the University of Gdańsk, religious scholar Krzysztof Niedałtowski is looking for answers.
Young people want to live by their own values and freedoms. They don't want anyone telling them what's right or wrong. From their point of view, the church often goes too far.
What exactly are those interventions? One example is abortion. The former right-wing populist government introduced an almost total ban, sparking mass protests, but the church supported the government's position.
Whether the church gets involved in politics should be a matter of personal conscience. The church is meant to be universal. Universal. That means non-partisan.
Non-partisan and accountable. The Polish church has faced hundreds of allegations of sexual abuse and has been accused of dragging its feet when it comes to investigations and compensating victims. On top of that, many Poles view the church's funding model as outdated. Each year, millions of euros from the state budget go to the Catholic Church. The government's response was to propose cutting religious education hours in public schools by half. But the church challenged the decision in court. At St. John's, the rector wraps up another sermon, this one with a hint of self-irony.
Sure, I forgive myself. I know myself well enough. I'm no pig. I'm basically an honest person.
He believes the church's outdated structures can still be reformed.
I believe in small groups, the church from below. That's where life is. That's where something more authentic can grow, far more than in the top-down Polish church of the past.
We asked the Catholic Church for an interview. They sent a written statement. It is not a desire to please the modern world or popularity, but faithfulness to Jesus Christ and his teachings that are the guiding principles of the Church's actions.
In my view, the Church doesn't want to change. It wants the world to change to fit its ideals.
Still, some change is coming, slowly but surely, and the joyful Mass at St. John's could offer a glimpse of what's possible.